Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Verbal Garbage. Today, boy, you guys don't know the lengths I had to go to get this guy on, and we're graced back with the presence of Shariff, and today we got a little bit of NBA talk I'd like to do, and then some current events if you don't mind. I think that'd be a little bit fun. So, I don't know. I guess the most recent thing I can think of is this morning. Did you see the news about Morant?
Well, first thing I want to step in and defend myself here about that
Oh,
going lengths to get me
all right.
on. I think there's been a couple months here where I've had some scheduled times that never were followed through by the podcast host, but I understand.
Guys,
Yes, let's get to NBA talk.
all right, we'll let you have the floor.
All
Morant,
right.
did you see it?
Oh yeah.
He was caught, and actually, I don't mean to divert, but this is kind of a podcast related and life related. My last episode, I talked about the crazy customer that flashed a pistol at me, and my boss went in and repoed his toolbox on Thursday. I was getting in my car this morning, and I got about 7 text messages from him. I would say pretty threatening in nature. So we'll see how long verbal garbage is going to be around, or if he's all talk, guys. But just related, Morant flashed his gun. For you, those of you who don't know, Morant's a big superstar basketball player on the Memphis Grizzlies, who are certainly in contention this year to win it all. Wouldn't you say, Reef? The whole NBA is pretty wide open,
I mean, on paper they are, I guess. I
but
don't think they actually have a chance.
they got their number one guy just constantly, beating up kids and having his goons point laser pointed guns at guys, and now he's in a club dancing with a pistol. So we don't need to focus just on him, but I just want to get your thoughts kind of on the East and the West landscape. We're taping this on a Saturday. Sixers got another big game tonight. They're on a big, tough little road trip right now. Milwaukee Bucks are playing. So start with the East or the West, wherever you want to go.
Well, on John Morant quickly,
Please.
this is America, nothing wrong with having your little gun in your little picture.
Unless you're a Latin king threatening your tool man.
But I think the biggest problem was the fact that he's in a strip club with a bunch of guys with the shirt off, dancing around in
Oh,
the dark.
these are the details that,
Really weird stuff. Just
maybe
like,
it's just
what are
team
you trying?
bonding.
I think maybe he's like, quote unquote, responding to the trolls, like giving into the trolls by doing that kind of video. But it's like, dude, that's not cool. Like, no one thinks that's funny or cute.
Yeah, we'd have to get with Officer Buck on that one, but I don't know if carrying a gun in a strip club is legal, and I would guess that it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just he's a clown.
What are your take on just these players, these athletes that just I don't know. I haven't really seen one like Morant in a while that's really trying to affiliate himself with some kind of lifestyle when he's already made it, and
No, yeah, it's crazy because like there's been guys who have been in the NBA who like really like came from a tough lifestyle. I want to give like Allen Iverson as an example. He
right.
came from a tough upbringing. I don't think he's the greatest person, but like he's always tried to like publicly do better. Like
Sure.
publicly try to be a good influence, try to be a good role model, even though maybe in the background we don't know if he's doing that, whatever. John Morant seems so focused on like proving that like he's some like dude, you went to a small college, you were the second pick in the draft, and you're an NBA superstar. Like you made it. You made it like against all the
Got
odds.
a dad supporting him at every game. Like he's
His
got
family loves him. He was in a nice family growing up. Like I just don't understand like what he's going for. And I think this is a problem with like a lot of people in the NBA. And I said this about Ben Simmons. It's like, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because
right.
who are these people that are allowing you to do this stuff and not saying, yo, man, like this isn't cool. Like this is not a good look. Like you have a Nike contract, you have an NBA contract. You're going to get a $500 million NBA contract probably when the CBA is up. Like you are in such a good position for generational wealth for your family and their families and their families and for years and years to come. And you're trying to mess it up by trying to be cool on Instagram for likes and retweets.
And especially now with like the kids growing up, all they do is go on their phones and look at these athletes to emulate. And he's got such a large following with the younger generation. And
Yeah.
I've already seen, I had one of my current events was, one of these kids beating up and pretty much knocking his teacher out unconscious because she stole his Nintendo Switch. And, you're hard pressed to meet a bigger Nintendo fan than me, but growing up, I couldn't imagine ever putting my hands on a teacher. And you and I well know that I was in the perfect opportunity to do that. when Sharif and I were in middle school when I was younger, and I took a little bit of gulp of the party size Hawaiian punch, and I got cornered in the bathroom by a large homosexual teacher, and the thoughts were running through my brain. I didn't know if it was defense mode or what, and but to strike a teacher, I can never even fathom that. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a weird world we live in. I mean, obviously, I think things are way worse because of cameras. I think cameras show us a lot more of that stuff
Yep.
that's already happening, for sure. But does seem to like be like things have gotten worse, and
I don't know.
I don't know.
So, well, let's at least stick with the Western Conference now that we're talking
Okay,
Grizzlies. We're doing John Morant. We got
yeah,
the Warriors with Steph Curry's as his injuries lingering. Is you know what I mean? Like Klay Thompson returning maybe to old form. You got the Pelicans. I don't know what's going on with Zion. The Lakers maybe looming. What are your thoughts on the West? Kyrie and
well,
Luca.
so right now, I just like it's hard for me to not see the path where the Warriors get back once
Oh,
Steph gets healthy because
bad.
Clay looks awesome. Like he looks like the best he's ever looked maybe right now. Like he's playing out of his mind. Jordan Poole seems to be getting a lot better with his defense, his shot selection. Draymond, he's Draymond. Like he's gonna have his games where he's horrible and unplayable, but some games he's just gonna shine and be one of the best players on the court. It's very
Yep.
frustrating to watch. Wiggins hasn't really played for them that much this year, and they're still up there. So I think they're the team to beat.
Yeah.
Denver, I watched them play Memphis last night. Denver's awesome. I just worry about their bench in the playoffs a little bit because they don't really have any scoring off their bench.
Should have never got rid of Bones Highland.
Well, but I don't think that's really the problem.
No,
He's
I'm
not a
just
very good
kidding.
player to
Just
me.
kidding.
But I think like Michael Porter is just so inconsistent. I think it's going to kill them.
Yeah.
He offers nothing like some nights, and some nights he just offers great shooting. Like what else are you offering on the court besides that?
Well, I figured you just brought up Denver and it'd be kind of a nice little quick transition to, I'm sure you're hearing a lot of like the Westbrook and Jokic talk the last couple days. Rolling your
Um,
eyes for the listeners only, for none of my YouTube watchers, but tell me why you're rolling your eyes at that. I just wanted to pick you're a big Russell Westbrook fan, as am I.
I'm I am the
Getting,
biggest Russell Westbrook
getting
fan,
completely
and
smeared towards the end of his career now.
yeah,
And I don't know, like Jokic just seems to get all this love for doing what Westbrook accomplished a few years
yeah,
ago, and Westbrook got called an individual player and a stat pattern for doing it. And
yeah.
if Jokic flames out this year in the playoffs, are you going to start, you know,
Well,
critiquing him a little? Because
personally,
I mean, I feel like he's
I
got a pass.
I don't like giving into like what have you won basketball debates because I just enjoy basketball. Like people make such a
But
thing like
it's a huge part of it, though. It's the big,
yeah, but it's like the only sport where we're like, oh well, he hasn't won anything. It's like why can't we appreciate good players? Like why can't we appreciate Embiid without him? Oh, what has he been out the second round? Or Jokic? Well, he lost to the Warriors. Or Dame Lillard, he lost to this team. It's like these are great players, and we're
yeah,
lucky to live in a time with all these great players. The Warriors have won 4 championships in the last 10 years. LeBron's won 4 of them. Like it's not easy to win
yeah,
championships in the NBA. The two
that's true.
best players of our lifetimes are probably Steph Curry and LeBron James, and they have most of the championships.
I was more curious about like your thoughts on. Do you think Jokic is getting more of like a pass and a parade? You know what I mean?
Um,
Because it seems to me like he's getting praised where Russell Westbrook put up similar stats and then flamed down the playoffs and everyone called him an individual player. That's kind of more like what I was curious about.
yeah, I kind of have I kind of like don't hate the praise Jokic gets because it is different for sure. I'm the biggest Westbrook fan, you know.
Yep.
Westbrook definitely was an awesome player, but Jokic does it in like a more efficient way. Their team is winning more games than Westbrook's team did, and like people
Yeah.
forget, Jokic didn't have Murray and Porter last year. They lost to the Warriors last year. The year before they lost to the Suns. The year before that they lost to the Lakers. Those are
See,
all the teams that
guys,
made the finals.
this is why we get him on. This memory off the dome right there is just
It's
we
like
can go deep.
people like to, just make their points for their interactions, but it's like think about it. Think about what you're saying. You lost to the Warriors last year without Porter and Murray. Okay, it happens.
Yeah. All
You
right.
lost to
Well,
the Suns the year before, a hot team. Maybe they could have beat the Suns the year before because the Suns, on paper, no one believed they were going to get to the finals that year. Then they lost to the Lakers in the bubble year. I mean,
All right. I like it. Very good defense of your boy, and
And
I appreciate it. And I was just wondering because that's been a big. I've just scrolling
yeah,
Twitter the last
yeah.
couple of days. It's just been a big
And
point of conversation. So I was just
you know,
curious.
I'm a Westbrook fan, and I have to make this point. He won MVP. They lost in the first round to the Rockets. They got Paul George the next year. They lost in the first round to the Jazz. The next year, they lost in the first round to the Blazers. So, like,
Yeah.
to be fair, it's different. It is
And now
different.
he's on the Clippers, and they're what 0-5 since the trade. So
That's tough. I feel
a
bad.
little.
I feel bad for him because it's just if you watch them play, it's just like there's nothing that he can do to stop them from losing these games.
It's really tough, man. It sucks to see someone who's been such a great player, and now it's like the punchline of all these internet jokes.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know.
that's what people do. It's easy interactions.
Yeah. So I guess we both kind of agree. I hate to say it, until the Warriors get dethroned, like I can't take the Grizzlies or the Pelicans, any of them seriously. Denver, I guess that would be fun if we could see them, as a 1-2 matchup in the end. But let's move over to the Eastern Conference. We obviously got our Sixers ties here, and I don't know if you agree, and if you heard my last episode or a couple episodes ago, and I thought that this could be the most talented, best roster they've had since the Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick teams, and I still feel like there's just something missing with this team. I don't know what it is, but just kind of give me your thoughts on the Eastern Conference, where the Sixers land, what you think their chances are.
Yeah. So right now, since like the new year, I want to say the Bucks are the best team in the league.
Yeah,
They just since Middleton's been back, they haven't lost a game. I believe they're 16-0 right now, which
Sixers gonna
is
break that streak tonight, guys. Come on now.
yeah. And I think that's the kind of this is a huge game for the Sixers. We know the Sixers over the last couple of years. They
Hmm.
have a big game versus Memphis like they did last week, and they'll come out and lose to the Miami Heat.
Miami, which shouldn't have lost. Harden had that
Yeah,
open look, but whatever. Yeah,
and it's like they're inconsistent, but like I've always been less worried about the Sixers' performances night to night. I've been more worried about how they play in these big spots in national TV versus Celtics or versus the
yep,
Bucks, because that's what matters with the Eastern Conference at the end of the day. Like, how can you do in these high pressure games versus the teams that are going to matter at the end of the day?
yeah. And they've been playing well like these since the new year. If you, I don't know if they've had so many entertaining games, especially
Dude,
since these more challenging teams the last couple of weeks. The Celtics, the Grizzlies, the Heat, they've all been good games. So
yeah, and I'm the biggest Embiid critic, and I think he's been awesome this year.
yeah, he's
Like,
carrying them like crazy.
like he's like, somehow he's improved, which is like insane to me
Yeah,
considering he's one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen in the NBA.
he's still living outside way too much for my liking.
I know, but I think like I don't think he's cut his turnovers out, but like I think his turnovers are like more acceptable because not so much of him like just trying to do too much with the ball. It's more of him trying to make a play. And I like
Yeah,
that more about him this year.
for sure. And yeah, the Celtics have been the front runner all year, but I don't know. I think they're beatable. And
So I've I've been not like working on a take, but I've been kind of like paying attention to it. I'm getting a lot of he's better for sure, but I'm getting a lot of Paul George vibes from Jason Tatum.
oh, a longtime former Pacer fan is qualified to speak on this
So Paul George, he's awesome when he's hot. He's making all of the shots. He looks amazing.
playoff
But
P.
when he's not making his shots, he will shoot you out of a game. He'll go 0 for 8 from 3.
Yep.
Last night, I watched Jason Tatum versus the Knicks. 0 for 8 from 3. He wouldn't stop shooting threes. He just shot them out the game completely, and they
Wow.
lost. And it's like, why? Like, you are so good. Like, you don't need to keep shooting the threes if they're not going in. I
Yeah.
hate that about the NBA.
That's one thing, but then on the other hand, like he didn't play well against the Sixers the other night, and then he had that ridiculous three at the end of the game that,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
players like him at any time they can strike. And you look at all these fumble drafts over the years with the Sixers, and it's a comedy of errors. And to think those two guys could be on our team together right now would just be it'd be
It would be
crazy.
nice to have at least Markel Fultz now. He's pretty good.
He's pretty
Dude,
good, but at the time I
he's a
wanted
great
nothing to do with
defender.
him.
He's
Yeah,
a
but I
great
wanted
defender,
nothing to
man.
do with him at that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After
Oh yeah, I don't
and
think
it
it was
just
ever going to work with the Sixers for him, but I'm happy for him.
and they could have had Bridge. Like it's just been whatever. I don't need to keep going on that. So if you had to pick now, you go Milwaukee and Golden State.
Um, can I make one more point about the East? I feel like we forgot to give a team some love.
The Knicks.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
dude. I mean, since They haven't lost since they've gotten Josh Hart. They have a really balanced lineup.
Tom
Their fourth
Thibodeau, baby.
their fourth quarter offense is like so fun to watch. It's just like
Yeah.
such good basketball they play
And who
together.
doesn't want playoff basketball at the Garden? Like, I'm super excited
I
for
know. I'm real. I love Julius Randle. I love the way he plays. I like that he's changed his attitude a lot this year. I have to give him a lot of credit.
it.
Like,
Yeah. Shout out to the Nova boys, Josh
and
Hart and Jalen
Jalen
Brunson.
Brunson, we love him.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm a huge fan. And Josh
Josh
Hart,
Hart.
man, I've
Like, it's
always been a big
awesome. It's
fan.
awesome, man. I love seeing them guys do well.
It's cool. And it's crazy to think that we went to middle school with Sam Rose, whose dad is like running the show there. So,
Yeah.
Sam, if
Yeah.
you're listening, maybe me and Reef,
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
We know a little basketball.
it's crazy, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I have the standings, I think, on my phone that I could share right now, but I'm scared because my Zoom's been getting wonky when I share. But the Knicks are right around the 4 or the 5 seed, right?
I think they're 5. Yeah.
So would it be Miami and New York, right? Or do you know what the 5-4 matchup would be? I can look, but
I think it's Cleveland and New York.
ooh, because the Sixers are the 3 seed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the East is going to be interesting. The West was I thought it was a little more balanced than it is, and I don't know if Dallas is going to be. They looked great against the Sixers last week with Kyrie and Luca, but I just don't know about the sustainability of that. So, all right, big topic we wanted to cover too. Unless you want to get any last NBA thoughts.
One last thought. The Kings are awesome. All right, let's go.
All right, haven't watched a single Kings game this year. I'll be honest. So
One of the funnest teams in the NBA.
I've heard that.
Third seed in the West, too.
Damn. Yeah, the late night games, when I was younger, it's all I used to do. And now as I've gotten
I
older,
know.
bed by 9:30,
Yeah.
so I can I'll watch Sixers games and then go right to bed.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this in our text thread. We had, and I didn't really get the covered on here. We had that whole that scandal, and you and I had opposing thoughts on it with the girl setting up the camera in the gym and then calling the guy a creep on her for just looking over because he didn't really want to be involved in the camera shoot. And it's a big thing now going on, guys. You got these influencers that are going to the gym and trying to flaunt to their followers their hard-earned sculpted bodies. And listen, I get it, and I'm not like denying the female empowerment movement or anything like that, but it's just gotten to be, the chicks are setting up their cameras, and then if a guy's in the background, he'll nicely has to turn it off, and then they're calling him the male Karen of the gym. And the one video I'm referencing, the girl's sitting there doing her little weighted thrust. She's got the bar and she's thrusting up on it. She's dressing, I'm not going to call it, it's just normal gym attire, but she's wearing very tight fitting clothes, clearly showing off what she's got. And there's just a guy in the background. And I think, in my opinion, he's just looking up, noticing that he's on camera. He's not ogling her. You know what I mean? And then she posted all online and she ended up getting the backlash. And then I'm on, team guy side, like, yo, leave the camera at home. And Reef's trying to say that he thinks men are worse at gym. So, Reef, have the floor.
All right. Well,
Did I set that up well? I set that up pretty well, huh?
Yeah. I think my point was more so that I think it's a lot worse seeing a man recording himself in the gym. Personally.
And the humor value when a man's doing it, though, is absolutely.
But most of the time, it's not humor. Like the most people we know are posting pictures of themselves in the gym are not like funny. People are trying to be funny.
No, I agree with that. But at least, like, I feel like if a man does it, he's so solely focused on getting the buys and the tries and the shoulders in the video.
Oh, sure.
Whereas I feel like, and again, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I feel like sometimes it wouldn't hurt some of these influencers to have, a guy or two in the background looking and making, paying her a little attention, which is ultimately what this is going to be posted on OnlyFans and Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. Let's be honest. So
yeah.
I don't understand. On one hand, you're trying to get the attention, you're soliciting the attention, but then a guy's looking in your direction, you get all mad. And man, the way I laid that out, I just don't think you can beat that. I really don't.
Well, no, yeah, I agree. Like when the camera gets pulled out, you're destined to like look. It's just like something you do. You might make eye contact,
especially if it's like on that selfie mode, and it's you can see yourself in the background, and you're almost being like painted as the creep, especially me looking with the mustache. Like,
and I'm a people watcher, so like yeah, I'm a people watcher, so I might get in trouble looking at a camera. But I think the overall point of this is just like, at the end of the day, whoever's putting a camera out at the gym is looking for likes and retweets, comments, and it's like, what does this world come to?
Trust me, I say it all the time, and I'm like, I know I'm like already sounding like the old man on the, get
no, man, you're not.
Trust me. Well, no, but I'm like this generation of kids. Like I was talking to someone the other day about like when I would grow up, like we would walk to the bus stop and you would just see so many kids interacting, throwing a football or just talking. And now, like when I drive past bus stops or schools, every kid is just sitting there scrolling on their phones. I'm always
Mhm.
on bike rides. Like I never see kids shooting hoops or
Yeah,
playing. And I live in Florida where all year round you have nice weather. You don't see kids throwing a baseball. Like,
yeah,
when I was back in New Jersey last year after Bobby and I, my nephew went to a Phillies game, we grabbed a baseball and had them leather mitts, dog. And, it's just crazy. And, like all the basketball games we used to play with all the different people. It's just, I'm not, I don't know. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The de-evolution of childhoods, especially. I'm not going to go there, but it's been a wild ride, so.
yeah. And I always make the point. I kind of feel bad for them because they don't know any better. That's just what they
Right.
were like, and
One
it's
kid
kind
gets
of
a
like,
cell phone, and then you're not cool if you don't have the cell
yeah.
phone, so the parents feel
And
obligated. Like it's been
I feel bad for them, and I have more sympathy for them. But people that are like our age, our generation, who are like really the main people recording a lot of everything, it's kind of like pathetic.
no, trust me, and that's like the thing. I'm like, I guess it sounds kind of weird that I'm making fun of people because here I am recording myself talk, but I'm like, it's in my own pride. You know what I mean? And just my thoughts.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, people are doing it in the gym trying to get attention, but then they're shaming the people in the background. They're just literally
yeah.
there
It's
working
just
out. You know what I mean? Like he's just trying to better
yeah. It's
himself.
just
So
yeah. Just go work out. We don't
literally,
need to.
just go do
You
your
can you can
thing.
post your results and share it, but like don't like involve other people in it
Right. We come from the
or make
generation
other
where
people feel bad about it. Make people feel bad about you recording yourself. It's like, why should I feel bad that you're recording yourself? Because I looked at you recording yourself. I understand that point.
Yeah, I just, that, like you said, it's mostly the people from our age group and our generation. It all started, back in high school where some guys our age, when they're 16, 17, they're getting a McDonald's job or something and rise and grind all about the paper today. And it's just, and we used to laugh back then, and it's just, look at what it's evolved into. So, man, I pray that, my brother's kids' generations, and I only say that because we've documented the journey, guys, and it's looking grim. So we're gonna do some share screen here, and we're gonna do a couple of the current events I had, since I'm sure time is not on our side anymore. So this one, just this had to be talked about. Do you see my screen getting all weird too? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I see it. I see your.
It's all you see that.
Oh
So
gosh, I
okay,
didn't
so
read this.
all right, so this will just be quick. I just thought it was kind of humorous. We had, I think it was in Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, where there was a white Karen in quotes berates two black men for shoveling, and she claimed that she didn't get along with them. So I don't know, just another story of having the cameras out. I'm sure people recording this because here we are, just have two guys just trying to shovel snow, either help out a neighbor or make some side money, and then you got a woman calling the cops due to this. So can you elaborate? Have you ever shoveled snow, Reef?
I've shoveled snow a couple times in my life. Had a couple jobs.
Because
Uh,
I don't mean to play the race card here, but I grew up shoveling a lot of here driveways, and not just my parents, but I would go around the neighborhood doing quite a bit of volunteer work, albeit paid. So maybe hard to call volunteer work, and I just can't recall ever seeing you know two black men shoveling snow. So I was curious if your experience and what kind of experience and how many times you've shoveled snow. Because we know the snow
uh,
blowers now, it's just
Hundreds of times I've shoveled snow for sure. Considering I think the part about where you live, because
Touche.
there is snow. When it snows in more black neighborhoods, I think there's snow is removed by black people. Sometimes there's neighborhoods where there's black people and white people. I know you might be familiar with one of those. Might have those, and
Well, it's a struggle, coming from old tendering road in Wexford Lease
yeah.
to relate to some of
Well,
these real problems,
you know, the Karen didn't. Maybe she didn't want her snow cleaned by black people. I don't know why, but
and these are just
Karen types are going to be Karens. They want to be involved. They want to let their opinion be out there and feel important. So that's good for them.
and you can hear me clearly, just the video is all wonky, right?
Yeah,
That's all we care about. So for those of you who are just watching now, I got one of my heads going like 360 degrees, and I got two reefs over my shoulder. So it's pretty dope
yeah.
right now for the visuals. Um,
It's giving me a seizure.
right, let's just look at the ceiling and give your thoughts. So yeah, on the thoughts of Karens, I also want to bring this up because it was a nice transition into I'm closely related to a Karen, and by closely I mean my mother. Um Anytime you go in public, she's gonna pull some kind of Karen stunt. And we went yesterday. I thought it'd be really nice for her son to treat her to a nice little pedicure. So we're going, and right away, we dip the feet in, and she's immediately complaining about going up the ladder about how the water's too hot, and she wants the people to adjust the water, and then just a couple other little things. And it's not a huge deal, but I'm also like I'm always worried about making a scene in public, and then you have her like micromanaging these little things. And I call myself like the Karen police, with her, because I'm really trying my best for these little preventative measures, to stop her from these instances. And I don't know. Have you run into a Karen in your days in New Jersey at work? They're running
I
rampant
mean,
these days.
I run into them all the time. Sometimes they're men, which is
And
a
what
whole
are
new
what
thing.
do they call them? Is it Can't Brad, or no? Brad's the
I
flip bro.
I don't know. When I used to work at this place in Philly, it was a lot of like Philadelphia construction guys who came in, and they were quite the male Karen
Wow.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That
I'm
Delco
actually.
accent on top of Karen, that had to
Oh
be.
yeah, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised to hear that about your mom.
Oh no, trust me, she'll give you the shirt off her back, but then she'll probably take it on, give it to you, notice there's a stain on it, ask for it back, and then she'll go back to. I don't know. She's just trust me. She's got just these little tendencies, and I think it's just her nature, nurturing nature as a mother.
Yeah.
And I know she listens to this podcast, and I hope she won't be offended by it. But
I
we
also
we know she sprouted as a full blown Karen, and my sister and I, we do our best to keep her at bay, but it's certainly become a challenge. The older we're getting, and the older she's getting.
and I think you've worked in like a lot of service in your life,
Oh,
so I think you have a little more sympathy for these workers.
I trust me. I've any restaurant I go to, anywhere, I'm always so sympathetic. And I also, like you said earlier, you love watching people. I like just going to a bar after work some days, one AirPod in, listen to a little podcast, and just observing the people, the way they talk to bartenders and servers, and how they order.
Mhm.
And it's just trust nobody can just say like, "May I please have this?" or "Yeah, thank you." So, and it should. I know might sound crazy, but I don't know. The
No,
older
I
you got,
understand,
just
man.
like
It's
people
it's
are just such rotten people, and then
yeah.
you got me like
I've
just
been out with people with me, and I'm just like, why are you behaving like this? Why are you talking to this person like this? Like,
I trust me. And I'm like, now I'm in this situation where, I'm going around selling tools for a living, and I'm fucking having like my life threatened these last week and a half. And, the situation's getting a little squirrelier than I'd ever liked. And I don't know where the chips are going to fall, but I feel like this podcast is just going to keep getting better. And I really hope this Latin King doesn't rob me of my chances to reach stardom.
I don't think he will.
We're
You've got some
hearing
serious protection on your side.
yeah. And I have law. My family is the law. Okay. And
Yeah,
he's a prepper. If doomsday come around, he's got gadgets and trinkets for the whole
and
tribe.
coffee.
Yeah, he drinks the coffee on an endless supply, and he can thank his sheriff's department for that. He's been getting free little handouts I hear. So we
Damn, it
got
must be nice.
the sub 5 minute warning about now. So I just wanted to see if you had anything that was on your mind, any events that you'd like to bring to light, any charities you've been donating to recently, any work encounters that are worthy of a little tale.
No,
I know you
I've
deal
been
with people quite a bit.
I had a little incident at work a couple months ago where I kind of cursed at my boss out of frustration.
Oh,
Um, but
Karen
besides
alert.
that, no, it's a lot of buildup. They put a lot on me at work, and I was accepting of it. I was just having a bad day that day, and I kind of snapped out at them.
Yeah,
Since then,
well,
I'm taking it, just give me whatever, working forever, killing me, but it's life, man.
yeah, and sometimes it's the whole argument. Do you keep it bottled up and not say anything, or do you bring it to light, make a scene? And I've always
Mhm.
found, maybe my mouth does a little too much work, but anytime I'm having issues, I'm always very vocal about it. And sometimes I don't go about it the
Mhm.
best way, but I always say if you keep shit bent up, and pen up. I said vent up and bent up. Now I meant pen up. You know what I mean? If you kept it, it could just sit up there and fester and just get nasty. So I think you benefited from that. Sharif and Jason, one of our friends who does not listen to the podcast, they've been really grinding on Xbox, and they've getting some wins lately. So we're really proud of these developments. And I've trust me, guys, I've got quite a stable of guests lined up for when we get back in the old house with the room turning into a podcast studio. And once we get Reef a better camera over there to keep up, because still when you talk, the voice is always like behind the mouth. We got to have that quick wit from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe one day the podcast can sponsor a laptop over to New Jersey.
Well, trust me, if we ever make it, the host could use a new one first, as you could see.
I would like
You
maybe a
you
custom
almost
verbal
seized
barber.
out because of my laptop, so I think
No,
I'm
your
in more
laptop.
need.
I've had a lot of fun with your laptop back in the day.
Oh my god, guys, there's no truth to that. My house is just a smokehouse and an Xbox house.
It was a nice brick that really supplied us with all the entertainment we needed.
The YouTube videos that still age well to this day. The Meek Mill, who's really blossomed onto the scene a little more than my liking, but what are you gonna do?
Pretty good,
So
pretty talented.
if you don't have any parting words, any final shots, Reef, we're gonna put this one to a close. Maybe I'll catch you on the greens on Tiger Woods over the weekend, and let's try to do this every couple of weeks. Especially with the NBA playoffs coming around, recapping sports, life, work stories, current events. I can think
Yeah,
of
I'd
no one
love to.
better to bounce thoughts off. So
Yeah,
enjoy the
anything you
rest of
want
your
to talk
weekend.
about.
Episode will be up on Monday, and thank you all for listening.
All right,
Peace,
thanks,
Reef.
brother. I love you.
Love you more, bro.
See ya.
Peace.